Going on, Falcon fan? This boy Rakundo coming back at you with another video. So, guys, we're going to down the home stretch for the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons have these last few games left. Can the Atlanta Falcons get it done? They got 6 games left in the season, um, and they all games going to be important. They're going to be huge for the Atlanta Falcons. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers got their win. They're a game and a half behind the Atlanta Falcons now. So Atlanta Falcons need to make sure they get the win. They need to start this Sunday against the Los Angeles Chargers, who actually play tonight on Monday Night Football. So get a good glimpse of those guys and see what they're all about for the Atlanta Falcons to come in. If you're looking at the title today, you see it say, they back from the bye from the home stretch. Can they play their best football of the season? This is the time of year where our Atlanta Falcons and all teams in the NFL, especially teams that's trying to, bowl for a playoff bid, they got to be playing their best football in November and December. This is what it's all made about. This is where, all those times of OTAs, mini camps and things like that, training camp is where you got to try to put it all together, and see what this team is made of. This is going to be the moment to find out if the 2024 Atlanta Falcons can go out and do what they said to do, and that was to outrun the South, right? That was their first, charge when they came in. That was the big video we seen from the head coach Raheem Morris to outrun the South. Can the Atlanta Falcons get it done? This is the most important time of the season for any NFL team. When it started to get cold during the holidays, these teams got to start hitting on all cylinders. Unfortunately for our team, right, if you watch what happened right before the bye, it seemed like it could get no worse. Like I said, if you looked at my last video, before the bye, I said that's probably one of the worst games I've seen Atlanta Falcons play. And I think, from a coaching standpoint, Raheem Morris probably agree with most of our sentiments of what we've seen from that, um, performance that the Atlanta Falcons put out there. Now, one thing we can say, they had a lot of injuries and things like that, that could have, but you can't make excuses, guys. When you put a 53-man roster together, that's the depth that you talk about, that's you're trying to create. So for our Atlanta Falcons to go out and lay an egg like they did, it just is unexcusable, and we cannot have that for our Atlanta Falcons, this during this home stretch. So, guys, with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that notification bell so you know I drop another video. Please hit the like button, so I know you guys like hear that talk about. And please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come and hear me talk about these Atlanta Falcons. So the first topic we definitely going to get into today is really about the offense. We're going to take look on the positive side when we talking about the offense today. Going down the home stretch, can our offense be able to do some things? And that's what we want to see. So the Atlanta Falcons offense, right? We talk about the Atlanta Falcons offense. What are some of the things that we've seen, that definitely can build on down this home stretch? I think one of the main things that we got to say is the running game. We got to make sure the running game continue to be where it needs to be. The running game is the genesis of this offense, right? It's where it starts. For the last 4 years now, the Atlanta Falcons staple of this offense has been the run game. Our offensive line that we have intact is built to run the ball. So the Atlanta Falcons need to really rely on the running game to its full extent. We're going to get Charlie Warner back for injury, one of our best blocking tight ends. I think that's going to help out a lot. We got a really good offensive line, especially when you're talking about running the ball. And then we got that two-headed monster that's back there in Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. So the running game for our offense is definitely going to be, I think, a key for us down this home stretch to see can we make things happen. And everything off that is what we can build off. So the running game is going to be huge. Bijan was having a great season so far for all-purpose yards, in the passing game, in the running game. I still believe he can definitely crack 1,000-yard rushing. Was almost there last year. He still had over 1,500, almost 1,500 combined yards total, but I think he can get closer to 2,000, the last 6 games. So we really need to see what, if we can get Bijan going in the running game. But that running game is going to be huge. I think it is the key. I think they need to get back to that. And also, one of the most interesting things that happened today, which a lot of people kind of, when you go back to the start of the season, and you hear people talking about, Kirk Cousins and some of the strengths of the things that he did really well in his last stints as offense, playing offense in this offense, from the tree of the Shanahans, right? And it's the play action pass, right? Kirk Cousins is really good with a play action pass. The Atlanta Falcons have not utilized that as much as they probably could have, early in the season before we went on that bye. However, today Raheem Morris was asked that question, and he actually mentioned that they're going to actually utilize that a little bit more. Kirk Cousins is a really good play action passer, being able to, set up the run and come back and get off his reads. But with that being said, our offense, and if we could do that, which I think we definitely can, I think it's going to be huge for our Atlanta Falcons to start to get things done. And I can't wait. I can't wait to get this thing started. It's going to start on Sunday back in the Mercedes-Benz stadiums. It's been about 3 weeks since we've been there. Atlanta Falcons have had 2 losses, and then they took a bye. So it seems like forever since the last time we was in the stadium. We got a good win, before we went out on the road the last 2 games. Probably should have won that game in New Orleans. We know what happened with that. Atlanta Falcons, in my opinion, probably played better than the New Orleans Aints during the entire game. I think they probably had the first half, but if you go back and look at the game in its entirety, the Atlanta Falcons probably outplayed them. We just had too many miscues, too many penalties, um, you know, missed field goals and things like that. And if you calculate all those miscues that we had, Atlanta Falcons easily probably win that game against New Orleans. However, that was not the case. It always be that way. Some reason these last couple of years we continue to split with those guys, but that's the start of it. But then, the game that we probably just all want to forget is the game we went up to Denver, right before the bye and just laid it straight up egg. Um, so it's been a while since we've been in the stadium. So definitely we got to get the offense going. And if the offense can get on track like we want it to be, I think the hugest thing right now is running the ball, utilizing that play action pass more, like they mentioned today. I think it's going to be really huge for the Atlanta Falcons to move forward. Um, other key things you think about some actually players here. You got Kyle Pitts. We need to see Kyle Pitts come on this last half of the season as well. He should be fresh. You know, he have flashes here, flashes there, but they got to get Kyle Pitts more involved into the game plan. Kyle Pitts is going to they exercise his 5th-year option, so he's going into a contract year next year. So this is huge for Kyle Pitts. But they got to be able to target him. He need to be able to take advantage of his mismatches that he has. But I think Kyle Pitts is going to be a huge key for the Atlanta Falcons when we come from an offensive standpoint as well. Hopefully Drake and Darnell, both of those guys was nursing a little couple of injuries going into the bye. So hopefully they come back 100%. Both of those guys was over 500, 600 yards receiving. It'd be awesome to get both of those guys over 1,000 yards as well in the passing game. So the Atlanta Falcons have the necessary pieces, especially on the offensive side of the ball, to get things done. You can see the uptick of the offense going in, from the first half of the season to towards the second half before the bye. Now it's important for that to continue to grow, continue to build that chemistry, and I think that Atlanta Falcons do this. This probably was one of the much needed rests for this team, because playing 11 straight game is really tough. We had a lot of guys nicked up a little bit, so hopefully some of those guys can come back, be ready, be fresh, and be ready to go. And that should be the game plan for our Atlanta Falcons. So, from an offensive standpoint, like I said, run the ball, utilize play action, and let's get all those playmakers involved. Um, I see, Kurt is way far removed from that Achilles now, over a year, when he took that injury. So hopefully, his momentum and he's able to start moving around a little bit more, get more comfortable in the pocket. Hopefully, they can open up that play action game like we wanted to see. But guys, there you have it. My offensive take for these Atlanta Falcons going down the stretch, which is going to be huge, especially coming up here Sunday. It's no other way to sugarcoat it. The Atlanta Falcons need to play really, really good, solid football. And if they do that, I think that would be huge for our Atlanta Falcons. There you have it from an offensive standpoint. Now, let's go to probably one of the things that probably got most of our Atlanta Falcons fans anxious, and that's on the defensive side of the ball, right? So, last time we seen this defense, man, they got mollywopped. Just say it like that. They got whooped. They got destroyed. It was not even close. Just, I mean, it was something that, from a fan standpoint, it seemed like the team just didn't feel like playing that game. They didn't show up, and it really, really was upsetting when you think about it. At the end of the day, so um, we cannot have that from the Atlanta Falcons standpoint. Um, they got to play better on defense. Got to play their defense. Now, before the bye, um, Raheem Morris mentioned that they were going to make some changes. Let's be honest. We go through OTAs, you go through mini camp, you go through training camp, and you put in a scheme. So they're not going to be wholesale changes, guys. It's just not going to happen. I know that. Even though I would love to see some things done differently, but it's not going to be a lot of wholesale changes. They just got to do what they do better. Now, sometimes when new coaches coming in, when they try to put a new scheme, especially when you're going from a 4-3 scheme like we had, from last year to this year, we're going to a 3-4 scheme. Sometimes coaches might not have the personnel that they need, that they want to be able to run the scheme, to the perfection that they need, right? I think when you're running 3-4, your outside linebackers got to be outstanding. I look at some of the 3-4 schemes out there, like a Pittsburgh 3-4 scheme. The Philadelphia Eagles with Dick Fangio. Those guys got great pass rushers on the outside to create havoc on the outside. The Atlanta Falcons is still searching for that. Of course, they assumed that Matt Judon was going to be able to bring them kind of spark, but he has not. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons sitting at 10 sacks right now, and that's just a piss poor performance from this team. There's no other way to sugarcoat it. So, they're not going to make wholesale changes. They're just not going to do it. Now, one of the things I did suggest, going to a 4-man front, and I know that I think that would be better. I think they got the personnel to actually do it. Now, from a scheme standpoint, how much more would they have to learn, and how much more would they have to, to just, I don't know. That's just depending on how much they actually put into to their playbook, going into OTAs and things like that. We definitely have to find out. But the truth of the matter is, they got to make some changes, guys. It's no way they can roll out their same vanilla defense that they had, especially what they had against the Denver Broncos, where it was reported that they pressured less, the young quarterback, the rookie quarterback, than they had pressure all season long, which don't understand that game plan. It seemed like Sean Payton still has the NFC South number. He actually know how to beat us for some reason, but our game plan was piss poor. We got to be able to change that. It's no other way around it. The Atlanta Falcons got to figure out how to create some kind of pass rush. Simulated pressures, if they have to, start to pressure your safeties a little bit more. Jesse Bates, Justin Simmons. Hopefully we get our 2 starting corners back, and Mike Hughes and D. Alford. If they both come back, I think that's going to help out as well. But I think the Atlanta Falcons need to be a little bit more riskier on defense. And I think if they be more riskier on defense and take chances, play a little bit more man-to-man coverage, I think that definitely would help. Um, we're playing, a guy in a quarterback who's not a runner, but he is athletic. He's a big guy that will get out the pocket and make plays with his legs. So you got to be careful of that. But I think a little bit more man to man will be huge. Not, strictly man to man. I'm not suggesting that, but mix it up a little bit. You can play that too high coverage. Make sure no big plays, but at the same time, you got to mix it up, man. You got to start bringing one of those safety down in the box. So even if you're going to just create pass rush pressures off of it, I think one thing they did find out before the bye was the use of Caden Ellis. I think Caden Ellis is going to be really huge in the second half. His ability to rush the passer is huge for us. Now he does have the green dot, so he's the one calling the plays. That middle linebacker. It'll be interesting to see how healthy Troy Anderson is. Troy Anderson has to stay on the field. This is second year in a row we've been nicked up and not living up to that potential that we need from him. So we definitely got to see what we're going to get out of a guy like Troy Anderson moving forward. But if they could utilize Caden Ellis more in the pass rush, or remember Katie, still keep plucking away at it, maybe eventually you'll be able to start to get home. Matthew Judon, and maybe this break was good for him. It seemed like he's definitely a better player than what is showing on the stat sheet right now. You can see the influence of being able to utilize the power, but being able to create pressures to get the quarterback out of spot. We just have not seen that out of Matt Judon. Something that we was hoping that we was going to be able to see, and we have not seen it. So that's some of the things that right now it's just failing us from a defensive standpoint. They have to make changes. And only thing I know is, guys, you got to mix it up. You can't keep doing the same thing, going too high, all the coverage. And I understand that being on break, it's a great thing, and it worked well for Atlanta Falcons start the season. But now it seems like teams got enough film on these guys, and it's not working like it needs to work right now. And that's where it's really starting to hurt. So we got to do better. We just got to do better from a defensive standpoint. I think the biggest thing is for health, we got to get our guys healthy back. Our cornerbacks, like I said, the offer, Mike Hughes, hopefully they come back. Troy Anderson is going to be a big factor in that as well. We'll definitely get the injury report on Wednesday. Maybe even DeMarco Hellams is coming back off IR. That would be huge as well. Guy that is physicality, is a playmaker as well. Somebody they could definitely use. So for all those, all those things, all those guys from a personnel standpoint, it's going to really be huge. That's what we need to see, right? But I think the main thing is got to execute better. You got to start creating some kind of pressure on the quarterback. I tell you now, the Atlanta Falcons continue to struggle of creating pressures from a quarterback standpoint. They're not going to be able to get it done. It's just that simple. They're not going to be able to get it done. And we really need to make sure that we understand that as a fan base, right? I have less faith in this team, especially after that Denver game than I had before going into the Aints game. I'm just be honest with you. That's where I am right now. So, I mean, that's how I feel about it, guys. I know you feel the same way. They got to figure this thing out, man. Just not a good thing for the Atlanta Falcons from a defensive standpoint. And until we see it, I don't know what to say. Until we see the changes that's going to be made, I think that's the biggest unknown. What changes are the Atlanta Falcons going to make? It's just going to be more effort, and they're going to keep the same scheme, more effort. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it'll work. I don't think they got the right guys to run the scheme, and it starts with the outside linebackers um, being able to get pressure on the quarterback. Just imagine we had a guy like a T.J. Watts coming on like off the side. I think that'll change the trajectory of the defense so much, right? Um, and you go back, and I hate to keep harping on it, but you go back to them 8th overall pick, where a lot of us thought that Atlanta Falcons were going to take a pass rusher there, and they took Michael Penix Jr., which is cool. I understand it. He is the future of um, the Atlanta Falcons. However, that pick was not meant for 2024. We do understand that. And now the fact that we are definitely having issues in our passing game is just not cool, man. Just not cool at all. So we got to be able to fix it. So from a defensive standpoint, just to sum it all up, um, we need to be in the wait and see what kind of changes it's going to make. One thing we should get a update on getting guys back healthy. I think that definitely would help. But what kind of changes that Jimmy Lake and Raheem Morris going to make to fix some of the shortfalls that Atlanta Falcons have? The Atlanta Falcons will not win the NFC South if we have trouble on our defensive side of the ball. It's just that simple. It goes back to where a lot of people was mentioning this earlier, and we were going off what we saw last season, where the Atlanta Falcons had 42 sacks to where they went back to their normal. This could be the worst season. One season Atlanta Falcons had 18 sacks. This could be even worse than that this season. So that's saying a lot, guys. That's really saying a lot. It's pathetic. There's no other word I can think about it. Just that is pathetic. So that's really what we need to be able to figure out. All right. From a defense standpoint, we're in a wait and see mode. We definitely in a wait and see mode. All right. From special teams, right? So what we need to see from special teams, guys, is real simple for the Atlanta Falcons. We need to see some of the things that we've seen earlier from the Atlanta Falcons. We've seen a muff punt recover for a touchdown. We've seen a block field goal. We've seen good returns, right? We've seen great field goal kicking. All those things is going to be huge for the Atlanta Falcons. We need to see, can we create explosive plays in the return game? That's something that, being able to study this new dynamic kickoff that we have seen, for at least 11 games now. How can the Atlanta Falcons even be better with this? So that's one of the things we got to see, right? So special team is real simple to me. I think if the Atlanta Falcons can create more explosives on special teams, it will be huge. More explosives in the run, create turnovers, anything that you can do to get your offense, back on the field, which would be huge. You can actually help your defense now. Great field position, right? All things that special teams, that third phase of the NFL, that some people never, ever, you know, credit as much as they need to. Special team is huge. You go back and look, it was a factor why the Dallas Cowboys won the game yesterday. So the reason why the Washington didn't tie the game up yesterday like they should have after the great play by Jaden Daniels to Terry McLaurin, to get back into the game. So, special team is huge. It's the reason why the Lions win the game against the Aints, right? So it's huge. It's one play, either time you think about it, it's a kickoff, it's a kick return, it's a field goal, it's a punt. You only get one shot at it, but you got to be really perfect in it. You got to be real good in it, and you got to be able to execute to the highest level. So special teams is always going to be something that each team need to factor on, and it could be a game changer for us. And hopefully, going into this final stretch of these 6 games, the Atlanta Falcons need to make sure they get it done. That's what needs to happen. That what needs to happen, guys. Um, go back to the question I put forth before the bye, and the question was, how many wins will it take in this last 6? And I still stand by my number that I gave before the bye, and I think it's going to take 4 wins. If the Atlanta Falcons go 4-2 in this last 6 games, I think they'll be good. I think they'll win the NFC South. That's what I believe. So the Atlanta Falcons need to go 4-6. If the Atlanta Falcons can do that, I think it will be huge. That's what I think. If the Atlanta Falcons go 4-6, right? They go 3-3, they're going to be struggling, and maybe that last game against Carolina is going to be more, important than we hope it could be. So that's where I'm at with it. Like I said, if you look at what Tampa Bay was able to do yesterday, yes, they were playing New York Giants, but they're getting that momentum going down this stretch. Their schedule is easier than our schedule. We got three important games that's really going to be tough for the Atlanta Falcons, and that's the Commanders, the Vikings, and this game this weekend against the Chargers. All 3 of those teams are potential playoff teams this year, so we got to play well against those guys. There's just no other way to look at it. And so that's the goal. The goal is to go 1-0 this week, but they need to go at least 4-2 in the last 6 games, and if they do that, it's going to be really, really huge. Really huge. So that's what I hope and think is going to happen. Really here for you guys. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know how many games do you think the Atlanta Falcons can be able to pull off. In my opinion, I think if they get 4-6, that's where we're going to be. I think that's going to help us out a lot. I really do, man. So let's hope they get there. 4-6, 4-6, 4-6. I mean 4-2, 4-2, 4-2. If they go 6-0, that'd be even better, right? That means the Atlanta Falcons is really hitting on all cylinders, to go to start the season. So hopefully they can go. Hopefully they can go 4-2. Hopefully they can. So guys, that's all I have today. Definitely come back on Wednesday when we talk about the keys of victory going into the game for the Los Angeles Chargers. We are back from the bye. I took a bye along with the Atlanta Falcons because I needed a break because I was so highly disappointed in what we've seen from the team, going into the bye. But this is really going to be important for us. We got to make sure we get things done, and let's see can they finish out strong. This is the time. This is what makes playoff championship caliber teams. November and December. You can do good in the first half of the season, but if you can't finish it off towards the second half, you still got a lot of room to grow. I will stand by what I said earlier. If Raheem Morris cannot win the NFC South, what he set out to do, especially starting the season off 6-3, it was a failure. It's just that simple. There's no other way around it, and we need to really do some soul searching. So, guys, let me know what you think about what the Atlanta Falcons need to do from an offensive standpoint, a defensive standpoint, and a special team standpoint. The last home stretch of the season, how many games you think they're going to win, and what kind of changes do you expect to see moving forward? There you have it. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.